The next time you need a haircut, think of the barbershop with a grand tradition. Williams Barbershop. Williams Barbershop, proud to serve the entire community of Eufaula. Come by to our new location, new facilities, and see what it's like to be treated in style at Williams Barbershop in the old J.C. Penney catalog store. There is another choice for making funeral arrangements. Central Funeral Services, located in Eufaula and Louisville, Alabama. With one-of-a-kind staff, thrives on professionalism and meeting the unique needs of families with a wide variety of services. Owned and operated by the Mixon family. Call 687-1060 or 266-5261. Melissa Mixon Smith, licensed funeral director.
Welcome to Gumbo Live with LC Green. This is LC Green. I'm filming here at the house today, still trying to recover from knee surgery. But I just wanted to do a special edition of Gumbo Live for several reasons. Number one, I want to tell you how excited I am about 2015. My first guest is going to be Sister Rachel Smith. Miss Rachel Smith is going to be my first guest as soon as I get back up and around and get back to the studio and start recording Gumbo Live. I'm so happy to have her as a guest. I said before that every city needs a Rachel Smith, somebody that can challenge the establishment. And so she agreed to be my guest, and she's just waiting on me to set up a time. I'm looking forward to that. And then I want to try to get the sheriff, the chief of police, and the district attorney all at the same time. I want to get them on the program at the same time. I want to talk to them about the law, and I want to talk to them about the things that's going on in Eufaula and Barber County. Get their perspective of it, based on things that's going on around the world. One thing about here in Eufaula, we can't separate ourselves from things the other things that's going on around the world. We act like we live in isolation, but we don't. So things that's happening somewhere else are going to eventually affect us. So I want to now. I have not set this up yet. The only thing I know for sure is that I will have Miss Rachel Smith. I will have her because she's already agreed to be my guest, and I'm going to make her my very first guest for 2015. And then I want like I said, then I want to talk to the city judge. I want to talk to him, and I want to talk to the city attorney and the city prosecutor. I want to talk to all these people because I think we ought to hear what they are thinking and how they are thinking, and I'm looking forward to that. So I'm looking forward to 2015. I'm looking forward to continue to record Gumbo Live, where we can be informative and have fun. Again, I tell you, I'm at home now. I'm at home recovering from knee surgery, and there's some of you who've been checking on me, and I want to thank you personally. I want to thank you. I'm going to call a few names. Ms. Evelyn, thank you very much. Ms. Williams, you and your family, thank you. Thank you very much. The bunch from the Bread Basket, thank you. All of you. So many of you call me, and so many of you I have not heard from, and I really was surprised for those who I have not heard from. But those of you who I have, thank you very much, and continue to keep me in your prayers. I'm going to therapy 3 days a week. And I'm doing what the doctor tells me. That's why I'm not out. That's why I'm not out and around. But let's talk about some things that's happening here in Eufaula. Let's talk about some things that's happening here in Eufaula. One of the things that I want us to know, those of us who are in Eufaula and Barber County, that we got to vote. We got to vote. We got to vote. We got to vote. The elected officials have no respect or fear of the voters. I'm going to say it again. The elected officials, they have no respect or fear of the voters. That's why they do what they want to do when they want to do it. That's why they say what they say, because they have no respect. If you got respect for the voters, or if you don't have respect, if you got fear for the voters, the elected officials in Barber County and the city of Eufaula take the voters for granted. They know if they run, they're gonna get elected. They know that. They know they got a pocket of folks that are gonna support them because of what they do. I'm gonna show you a couple of examples. I'm gonna tell you a couple of examples that I believe is disrespect to the voters. We went up there in mass numbers and asked you not to do something, and you did it anyway. You got it fixed now, where the citizens, the voters can't talk at the county commission seat, city council. You can't talk, but the county commissioner picked up the same thing. He's copying off the city. But you can't talk, and then here later you came carrying a sign. My thing was, well, if you can't talk, if you won't let me say anything, at least let me bring a sign in. I mean, this is still America. Seemed like to me that we are operating as if though we live in a communist country. You tell us when we can and can't talk, and the reason why you want us to write everything down is so you can see what we're gonna say, and you limit what we're gonna say. If it don't agree with you, so anyway, I think that's wrong. I think it's wrong, and I think we need to get other officials in there that would at least let us talk. And I think one of the biggest jokes that is being played on the citizens of Eufaula and Barber County is when they have these political forums. I think that's a big joke. I think that's a big joke when you got to write everything down because they scared for you to stand up there and ask your own questions. They think that they got to ask the questions for you, that you can't ask your own questions. You might ask something that they can't handle. And one of the things I want to say, and one of the reasons I'm so happy to have Miss Rachel Smith as my first guest when I get back to recording in the studio, is that a lot of things taking place because of her. City Council changed their whole plan because of her. They try to limit what she's gonna say, and they don't want you to catch you off guard. And you're gonna have a political forum. You're gonna have people running for office, people who will put themselves out there to serve us, and yet you're gonna determine what questions that you're going to ask them. I think that a person ought to be able to stand up there and ask their own question in their own way. That's one thing I like about Gumbo Live. I've had the candidates on. And one of the things that I was able to do, I had no prearranged nothing, no prearranged questions, no prearranged deals. I asked questions that I thought was important for the people to know, and they had to answer the questions. They couldn't drag around, and they could not prepare themselves ahead of time. Some things you ought not have to prepare yourself. Now, we prepare sermons because you're trying to cover so much ground. But there's some things you ought to be able to ask me about the Bible, ask me about my relationship with God, that I don't need to try to prepare for. I can answer you right across the board. I'll show you something else that's going on to show you that there's no respect, for the citizens. I remember 3 years ago, I remember questioning the fact that you got a man serving on city council longer than anybody up there, but yet you vote somebody else in as president of the council. That shows that you have no respect for the voters. That shows you have no respect for the folks. Like it or not, because what kind of job a person is doing, if they're getting elected over and over again, they're saying something. But the fact that, and I remember talking about that. I remember talking about that. I remember talking about running myself for city council. Jason Bennett had just got to town, and I was as well known as he was. And I was told by some prominent people who serve on the council right now that the city was not ready for 3 black council people. And I took that in consideration. I really did, because a person told me that. I seek their advice. I went out and I seek their advice, and I took their advice. I took advice from this person, and I didn't run. And I didn't run. And I don't think that that the person who serving is doing a great job. I think he's just a yes man, and I should have ran. I think we underestimated the citizens of Eufaula. I think the citizens of Eufaula now, for sure, they want somebody that's going to serve and that's going to look out for the city of Eufaula and do what's good for all of the citizens of Eufaula. One of the things that I found out that we got one segment of the city that's well represented, and then we got another segment of the city that's not represented at all, and has no voice. And problems come, my brothers and sisters, when you have citizens that don't have a voice. When you have citizens that don't have a voice. When you got citizens that don't have a voice, then you're opening the door up for problems. And the moment something happens, the folks that don't have a voice want a voice. And people find all kinds of ways to speak. They find all kinds of different ways to speak. We can't live in a city or country where there's only certain segments of the city or the town or the county is represented. We got to represent everybody. We got to represent everybody. And when we got elected officials that want to represent everybody, that leaves folks out, that treat folks as second-class citizens because they have no respect or no fear. And one of the things, and it's our fault, if we got elected officials, listen to me very carefully. If we got elected officials that don't respect us and don't fear us, it's our own fault. Because we are the ones who won't go vote. If we go vote and let our voice be heard, you got to demand respect. You got to demand respect. No, folks ain't gonna just wake up in the morning and respect you, even though we should. We should just respect each other because we're human beings. But a lot of folks don't do that. And elected officials tend to forget that they are elected to represent the people. I've heard elected officials say, well, you don't tell me what to do. Well, the moment you came ask me for my vote, you're giving me the right to give you my opinion. If you don't want my opinion, don't ask for my vote. But the moment you come and ask anybody for their vote, then you're opening the door for their opinion, whether you like it or not, whether we agree with each other or not. And wouldn't it be sad? Wouldn't it be sad if we agreed on everything? But that's not the America. The America that I live in, the America that I grew up in, is that you had diverse opinion, but everybody was allowed to state their opinion. We living in a city, in a county now, where they don't even want you to state your opinion. I want to tell you about a meeting that's going to take place on January the 13th at 6 p.m. at the library. Several of us have been meeting for months now, those of us who are concerned about the direction the city and the county and even the state is going, and even the country. We've been concerned about the way it's going, and so we have been meeting and we have been coming out with some strategy. And so I'm going to ask all of you now, I'm going to ask all of you who are concerned, you done sit back, you done seen how the folks are operating, you've seen how our elected officials operate, you've seen the county commission, you've seen the city, you've seen the city council, You're seeing our state representatives, our state senators, the governor. You're seeing how everybody operated now. Now you got something that you can base your opinion on. So all of you who are concerned, every concerned citizen, the 13th of January at 6 p.m. at the library, second floor of the library, we're asking that you meet with us. And what we do at the meeting, we discuss things. We discuss things. We discuss things, and we come up with strategies that we're going to use. We're going to come up with some strategy. We're going to come up with ways that we can come together and make this a better city, a better county, and a better state, and a better country. But we know that the only way we can do this is that we have to come together. We know we have to come together. We know we can't do it separated. We know we can't do nothing if we don't give everybody a chance to state their opinion. And that's what we do. We sit down, and we value every idea. There are some ideas that feel not bad. I tell you something else. I can go a little further than that. I know some folks. I know some folks that don't talk to me. And the reason why they don't talk to me is because some elected official done told them not to talk to me. I think that's crazy, y'all. Everybody ought to be able to state their opinion. We ought to value everybody's opinion. We don't have to agree, but at least let a person be able to state their opinion. We are voters. We are taxpayers. We are property owners. We all that. We everything America say that we ought to be, and because we are these things that America say we ought to be, we got certain rights. And surely we got the right to speak. Surely we got the right to state our opinion. Surely we got. I would not want nobody in office. I personally wouldn't want nobody in office who won't hear everybody. Now I know you can't agree with everybody, but what's wrong with hearing everybody? Why you got to write questions down? Why you got to speak for me? Why you got to? I got enough sense to ask my own questions. And you got to say, well, I don't want to answer that, or that's a stupid question, or whatever. You have a right to say that. We live in America. And all I'm saying to us, I want all of us, number one, I want us to vote. I want us to vote. I want us to vote. Number two, I want us to know facts. I want us to know facts. We're doing a lot of talking about stuff that we don't have the facts. I want us to know facts. And see, our elected officials need to understand that when you let us talk, then you can give us facts. A lot of stuff there wouldn't be as much anger, there wouldn't be as much separatism in our city, our county, our state, and our country if you just had facts, man. If you just had facts. Okay, you see this thing this way, you see it, and I see it this way, but these are the facts. This is why this happened. Why this happened? Well, if you won't even let me ask you why things happen, if you won't even let me ask you why you voted in a certain way, then there's always going to be a conflict. There's always, and I mean, this seems like to me this is simple. Seems like it's simple. It's simple for me to ask the question, why is it a man serving 28 some years cannot be the president of the council when he served longer than anybody? But that's a simple question. He said, well, you don't quite. Well, tell me that. Tell me something. But don't you get up there and act like you're a dictator and you dictating everything. And then see, and I'm gonna tell you something else. I told you that the voters, that the elected officials don't fear or respect the voters. We got a council that don't respect the mayor. Now you may not respect the man itself, but you better respect that position. And because of the position of mayor, who was elected by all the folks. See, one of the things that I always say this to the council, you are represented from a district. You represent one specific district. The whole city voted on the mayor. What kind of job? I'm not talking about what kind of job nobody's doing, counselor or mayor. I'm talking about respecting the fact that that's the mayor. And then when you respect the voters, then you respect that position. You're a council person, you never meet with people in your district. You don't respect them. And that's my opinion. You don't respect them. When there's hot issues, and we've had several hot issues in this city. And I kept waiting for my city council to call me and say, listen, we're having a meeting for everybody in this district to come and give me your opinion. Never happened. I never got the call. I'm not saying they didn't have the meeting. I kept waiting for the mayor to call and say, we're going to have a town hall meeting. I asked the mayor when he first got elected, I said, Mr. Mayor, will you have a regular town hall meeting? And he asked me why we have to have one. I said, well, you got so many people with different opinions and there are so many different problems in the town. He decided he didn't need to have one. He said, he came back and told me, he said, no, I don't think we need to have that. Well, how else are you going to hear from us, Mr. Mayor? City council person, how else are you going to hear from us? How else are you going to hear from us? Now, when you go around and you running for election or re-election, you take a minute or two to talk, but you got your own little spiel. Why don't you take the time and hear us? Why don't you? And I told speaking of a meeting with folks, I mistakenly thought that my representative for my district city council said that he would meet with us if he got elected. And I asked him that one day. I said, didn't you say? He said, no, that wasn't me. He said, that was that clown that ran against me. He said that, the one that you supported. That's what he said. You know, that's not respectful. That's not respectful. You don't call your opponent a clown. You don't do that. You don't call your opponent a clown and then you saying in my face that you ain't got to meet with me because I didn't support you. Well, I support you now because you're in office. You're in office. I got enough sense to know that if the person I want don't get elected, I'm going to support whoever's in there. But you got to hear me. You don't know if I support you or not because you don't hear me. And all I'm saying now is that it's 2015. People are going to have to start announcing if they intend to run next year. Somebody needs to start campaigning right now. And if you're running against an incumbent, you should already been campaigning. And if you're running for re-election, don't take folks for granted. Don't say, well, I can announce when I get ready and all that. No. I want you to know that we are watching you. And as long as I'm breathing, I'm going to use everything that's available to me to bring your actions and your words to the attention of the voters. And I'm telling the voters right now, that there is no respect for the voters, there's no respect for our wishes, there is no fear. They don't fear us. We got people in office now who know all they got to do is run and they're going to get re-elected because so-and-so going to do so-and-so. I got this community and I got this community. And you stop taking folks for granted. Stop telling them I got the black vote, I got the white vote. No. You're supposed to earn every vote. And listen, you don't just earn that vote when you're running, you earn that vote when you get elected. Every time you meet, every time you look at these bills and all these other proposals that come before you, you ought to be trying to earn the vote of the people of your district. You ought to be able to look at things and say, the majority of my district, this is what they want. Now, I'm not foolish enough to believe that you're going to please all the people. I'm not even telling you to try to please all the people. But what I'm saying is that you win by majority vote. That's how you win. You win by majority vote. You stay elected by majority vote. So it only makes sense to me that you would get out there and see what the majority of the citizens, if you're running for mayor, you ought to do what the majority of the citizens want. Not just a handful, not just a pocket, but the majority of the citizens. And if you're running for district 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever district you represent, You ought to do what the majority of that district want. The majority of what that district want. So so how you know? How you know what the majority of your district want? You got to meet with them. You got to hear. You got to meet with those who are for you and those who are against you. Sometimes some of my best ideas come from those who oppose me. And if you come up with a good reason why you oppose me, then I've got to sit down and think about that. And some things I have to rethink. I'm gonna give you a prime example about myself. I got off there. Me and my production company, we couldn't see eye to eye. You know, people say it a lot. I say I got off because I got fired. No. I explain all that to you. I got off on my own. But because folks talked to me, because folks who I thought didn't give a foot about me talked to me and encouraged me, I had to sit back and had to look at it. And I realized that Gumbo Live was bigger than me. Because a lot of folks was listening to Gumbo Live, a lot of folks looked forward to Gumbo Live. I've heard folks tell me that a lot of things that we talked about, and especially when we did the candidates and the district attorney, some of my biggest compliments came with when we did the sheriff candidates, we did the district attorney. And I want to thank them. I want to thank the candidates for sheriff. I want to thank the district attorney. I want to thank the probate judge. I want to thank them. And I want to thank Judge Smith and all others. And not only did it help Gumbo Live, but it helped those who came on. A lot of you have actually come on my show and you won't come. And I tell for I'm not trying to ambush you. I'm not trying to make you. And there's nobody who came on my show who did not leave the show in better shape than it was when they came. And yes, it helped me. I want Gumbo Live to be the most talked about show. Not because it's Gumbo Live, but because of the content of the program itself and because of the guests that we have. I'm not afraid to have anybody. I'm not afraid to have anybody. I've had folks who said they wouldn't come because they not about trying to divide the city. No, me either. I'm trying to bring the city together. That's why I ask different people to come. Everybody I ask to come is not because they agree with me. I don't know where they stand. I don't ask that. I thank Mr. David Nix. Mr. David Nix has been my guest. Chip Chapman, I enjoyed that. I think that's one that I enjoyed. I enjoyed more. I enjoyed sitting down and talking to Mr. Chip Chapman. I really enjoyed talking to him. You know, I've had Sherry here. I've had the lady from the little department. I've had a variety of guests. And, I hear people whispering about not having no minorities, but before you start talking about that, you better ask them if I ask them to come. There are some folks who I really want, but they won't come. They won't come. And all I'm doing is that I know the power of the media. I know the power of the media. I know the power of the media. I know the power of TV, radio, and the newspaper. I know that. That's one reason why I've been begging the editor of the Eufaula Tribune to come on my show, Mr. Ed, and the door is still open for you, man. It's still open. And the door is open for anybody who want to come. You know, it's not about whether you like me or not. That's not what it's about. It's about you having a chance to talk to the citizens, and because Gumbo Live is not only on local TV, but it's also on YouTube. You're talking to folks all around the world. You're talking to folks. I got folks in just about every state that watches Gumbo Live or that Gumbo Live on YouTube. So it's all about us being able to sit down and talk. It's all about us being able to share with the citizens. It's all about us healing. See, first of all, there's a lot of folks who don't believe that we have problems here in the city of Eufaula and the county of Barbara. They don't believe we got problems because everything is going so well for them. And that's the thing that happens a lot. And when you don't listen to other folks, then you don't get the one side of the story. when the only time you listening to just your little circle, then you're not getting a very broad view of what's going on. That's why it's important that you hear everybody's voice. That's why it broke my heart. It broke my heart when the city council changed their format. And then I said, well, and then they put a man out because he had a sign stating his opinion. Well, you wouldn't let him verbally say it. So I said, well, yeah, that's a good idea. If you can't say something verbally, write it down. You're not disturbing anybody. You're not saying nothing. You're not speaking out of turn. But now if I'm trying to rule with an iron fist, if I'm trying to be a dictator, I have you removed. I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen, y'all. I've seen folks have other folks removed from the meeting simply because they didn't like what they were saying. I've seen people say, no, you black, you can't come in here. I've seen it. And there are some of you watching this program that have seen it. That's dangerous. That's dangerous. Let folks talk. We got some issues here. We got some issues. Let me tell you something. This is what I believe. If there's an issue and the city going to take a stand, all of the citizens ought to be behind us. All right? Let me give you a prime example. The widening of 431. We ought to have enough meetings where people could talk. Nobody bullying nobody. Nobody trying to persuade nobody, but everybody talk. And then when we come to the conclusion that the majority of us want it or don't want it, and when the city go out to the state, we're standing up with you. We're standing up with you. That's like during the Vietnam era. Everybody didn't agree with the war. But those of y'all who mistreated the soldiers when they came home, you were wrong. Because they represent America. So even though America is maybe doing or saying something I don't like, it's still America. So I'm still going to get behind you and support you. And this is what I'm going to do. All right? All right now. I got behind you this time. I didn't like it. So when election time comes, you can't come to me no more. Because I'm going to put somebody else in office. But because I respect the office, and because you allowed me to speak, listen to me carefully, because I respect your office, and because you allowed me to speak, I had my say. I did not win. I was not able to get enough folks on my side. So now what I do, I surrender. Say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And I'm going to stand with you. But I got my eye on that election box. Next time we come elected, I'm going to get somebody who more closely operate with me, who more closely see what I see, believe what I believe, and I know that. Listen, how you know what I believe? If you won't let me talk. A lot of times you'll find out, my brothers, we not as far apart as you try to make us believe if we just sit down and talk. But nobody wants to be bullied. Nobody wants to be told what to do. Nobody wants to be treated as if though they have no say. I'm going to remind you again, this is Gumbo Live with L.C. Green. The opinions of mine, the opinion of mine. I'm not associated with anybody. I'm not sponsored by anybody. These are my opinions. These are mine and mine alone. And I always tell you, if you have something that you want to say, I'm willing to listen to you. And I tell you this here, Gumbo Live is open for you. I will give you time on TV and on YouTube, time that I pay for. Because once you come on Gumbo Live, I pay for this time, and I give you the time. I'm not scared of your opinion. I have never come on Gumbo Live and I never debated nobody. I have not debated nobody. That's not what I do. I let you come and I ask you some questions. I let you answer my questions. I never had a guest on who I didn't give them a chance to say. I said, well, you can say anything you want to say. You can say anything you want to say about anything. And I think that our elected officials ought to have that same view. Our elected officials ought to say, listen, say what you want to say. Whenever you want to say it. Man, you meet twice a month. Well, we ought to go to the county commission meetings. We ought to go to the city. County, city. Once a month we go to the county. Once a month we go to the city. Let our voice be heard. Oh yeah, they're gonna label you. They're gonna label you. That's one of the things that I'm gonna do with Miss Smith. I'm gonna say, tell us who you are. Because other folks tell us who you are. Other folks don't label you simply because you. And listen to this. Just because you speak out, folks gonna label you. Just because you speak out, folks gonna lie on you. Man, they got all kind of rumors and lies out. Folks gonna do that because they're hiding from the truth. Folks don't want to know the truth. Folks believe they can lie on you and get all the focus on you, then ain't nobody focusing on them. But if you want to be heard, I invite you to come on January the 13th at 6 p.m. to the library. There are going to be folks there. There's going to be a very informal meeting. We very informal. But one of the things we do, nobody leaves there without having an opportunity to say what they want to say. Some folks don't come no more. Some folks used to come to the meeting with us. They don't come no more. They don't like what was said or what was done. You know, they don't come no more. That's fine. That's fine. This is America, man. Ain't nobody going to make you come. Ain't nobody going to make you stay when you get there. When you get there and you don't like who's there, leave. You don't like what's being said, leave. This is America. But all I'm saying to you, I give you two opportunities to say January the 13th, or I invite you again. I invite you to come to Gumbo Live. And I tell you all the time, if you got the best way to deal with Gumbo Live, if you got any questions, any comments, or if you want to be on the show, I tell you, all you got to do is go by the bread basket. I think everybody know what a bread basket is. If you're driving through town and you don't know, you're living outside the city limits, it's right across from the courthouse, downtown New Follow. Go in the bread basket, Tony, Nino, any of them there. And tell them you got a question that you would like to be dealt with on Gumbo Live, or you'd like to come on. Tell them. And then they'll give it to me and I'll get in touch with you. There's nobody who I'm afraid of to put on the show. Nobody. I'm not afraid to put you on. The only thing we won't do on the show is use profanity. That's the only thing we won't do. But you can talk about anything and anybody you want to talk about. Sure you can. Sure you can. Sure you can. That's not why I got off. I got off the air because of the way things was handled when I did my show. Not because of what I said. Put you off the air because of what you say. You can come on and talk about anything. Now, there are some things that you talk about that you got to have facts. You can't come on and say so-and-so did so-and-so if you don't have some facts on that. Because then you ought to be sued for libel. They ain't gonna hurt Gumbo Live. They ain't got nothing to do with Gumbo Live, but they got something to do with you. When you make accusations, you got to be able to back them up. If you say I did so and so, then you got to be able to back it up. And that's one of the things about public officials. They got a record. They got a record. They got a record. And all of the county and city commission meetings are recorded. So if a commissioner or county commissioner or city council person forget what they say, pull it up. Show it to them. That's what I do with Gumbo Live. I keep Gumbo Live. There was an issue here not too long ago when we talked about the grand jury, and I had the district attorney, and I had Jerry Smith Hart, and I had Mr. David Nix explain to us what a grand jury is all about. And then I looked at all three of them, and all three of them said basically the same thing about what a grand jury is and what a grand jury was supposed to do. Now, if there's an issue, the issue might be, did they do it? But all three of these men explained to us what they should have done, how things should have been done. You see? So now, if the DA was to come back and tell me, I didn't say that, well, Mr. DA, here it is. You see? So all I caution you was when you say something, when you make an accusation about a person, and that's anybody you're talking about. The thing that separates the truth from a lie is facts. You can say so-and-so is a thief, but if you don't have no facts that that person ever stole something, then you lying. And you're making a false accusation, and you're going to find yourself in court somewhere because you made a false accusation. But anything besides that, you come on Gumbo Live. I invite you to come. I invite you to write down on your calendar January the 3rd. Who's going to be there? Anybody can come. I don't have to try to tell you ahead of time who's going to. I'm going to be there. I don't try to tell you ahead of time who's going to be there. What it's all about. It's all about what you want it to be about. January the 13th, 6 p.m. at the library. Right here in the city of Eufaula. Come from anywhere in the county. Come from anywhere in the state. If you're watching it on YouTube, you want to come to Eufaula, come on. Because it's all about making this country, this state, this county, and this city better. And what we're trying to do, we're trying to come up with strategy. And I tell you something, we're coming up with folks. We are trying to identify people who we believe will be good for us. When I say us, who am I talking? I'm talking about all of us. All of us. All of us. Listen. Any team that focuses on one person is not a team. Not a winning team. And if you don't get nothing else out of Gumbo Live, you can say anything you want about Gumbo Live, but please tell the truth on me. And the truth is, I'm trying to bring us all together. I'm trying to give us all a vehicle that we might be able to use to say what it is that's the truth. The candidates came on, man, and I keep talking about that because I was really proud of myself. How the candidates came on and they was honest. They dispelled a lot of rumors. And I was able to ask them anything I wanted to ask them. So when I left there, I had nothing. All I could do is choose who I wanted to support. I didn't have to support somebody because everybody else would support somebody. Matter of fact, a lady got mad at me because she told me, I want you to support so-and-so. I said, man, I want to tell them who to support. She got mad at me. Still ain't speaking to me. But when I hear you and you hear me, that's how I determine who I'm going to support. I don't want nobody to stop me in the street and tell me to support so-and-so. So-and-so ain't never heard me. If you're a candidate or elected official, you know, you can be bold and bad and talking about nobody tell you what to do, but they don't ask me for my vote. I say it again, the moment you ask me for my vote, then you're telling me that I have a right to give you some input. I have a right to tell you how I feel about this and feel about that. Well, my time is about up. I tried to cover a few things and try to get you excited to watch Gumbo Live. We're coming on every Tuesday night on channel 97. That's the local TV. We come on at 6:45 every Tuesday night, and we're on YouTube. And once you get on YouTube, you're on YouTube, and you can watch us at your own convenience. Again, a guest that I do know I'm gonna have real soon. Again, I want you to know I'm recovering, and for those of you who are concerned about me, I'm doing well. I'm going to my therapy 3 days a week and doing therapy, and hope to be up and around real soon. Keep me in your prayers. But my first guest is going to be Miss Rachel Smith, and I'm looking forward to that. And I want to have a program, and I may need you to help me put this together. But I want the sheriff, I want the city police chief, and I want the district attorney, all of us to be in one room together, and all of us to talk about things that's affecting our city and our county from a perspective of the law, and we'll get Jerry Smithhart to be on the same program with us. I want to do that. Some of you that I've had, I want to do again. I want to do the fire chief again. I've had him on my program, and I think that's the department we take for granted. I want to thank them too, because when I got out of the hospital and I needed to come into my house with all these steps, they came over and helped me in. So I want to thank the Eufaula Fire Department. I think we take them for granted. We don't really realize just what all they do and just how important they are. You know, especially if you never had a fire, you never had to have them take you to an emergency or something like that. So these are the types. So I want to get the chief back on. And again, I want to thank the Bread Basket for allowing me to do my show there. And I'm looking forward to talking to the probate judge again. But this program is for you. It's for you, the everyday citizen. It's for you, the voter. If you are a voter, then this program is for you. If you are a voter, this program, you got access to this program. If you are a voter, you can come on this program and I'll be quiet. You can use the whole program to say what you want to say. If you are a voter. If you are a voter. Because the whole purpose of Gumbo Live is to inform you and give you an opportunity to tell others about what's going on. I want to thank you again. I want to remind you of the 13th of January, 2015 at 6 p.m. the library on 431 here in the city of Eufaula. I want you to come. I want you to come and I want you to meet with us. And if you come in and say this is a bunch of foolishness, that's fine. But come and say your piece. Come and listen to others who are concerned about the government of this country, this state, this county, and this city. It's time that we start holding folks accountable. They may not respect us now. They may not have no fear with us now. And that happens when you keep them divided. That happens when you keep them divided. Anybody that have raised children, you know, once the children can get mom and dad on different pages, then they can have their way. Our elected officials have done a good job of dividing us. And then as long as they got us divided, then they can have their way. They can tell us to hush up and sit down and be quiet and all these other things. So you've been watching Gumbo Live with L.C. Green. I hope that you have enjoyed it. I hope that you're looking forward to 2015 as I am. I want to take Gumbo Live to the next level. I want to take it to the next level, whatever that might be, whatever that might be. I'm going to tell all of the pastors you have access to Gumbo Live. You have access to Gumbo Live. All of you, you have access to Gumbo Live. I thank those of you who have been watching me for the last 3 years. I thank those of you who give me words of encouragement. I thank you very much. And I thank God that I'm able to do it without coming on and asking for anything. I don't have to compromise, and I don't have to ask you to pay for this. I don't have to ask nobody to pay for it. I'm able to do it myself. And so I thank you for it. But those of you who make this possible, those of you who work in the production and everything, even though I pay you, I say thank you anyway. I say thank you anyway. You're watching Gumbo Live with L.C. Green.
The next time you need a haircut, think of the barber shop with a grand tradition. Williams Barbershop. Williams Barbershop, proud to serve the entire community of Eufaula. Come by to our new location, new facilities, and see what it's like to be treated in style at Williams Barbershop in the old JCPenney catalog store. There is another choice for making funeral arrangements. Central Funeral Services, located in Eufaula and Louisville, Alabama, with one-of-a-kind staff, thrives on professionalism and meeting the unique needs of families with a wide variety of services. Owned and operated by the Mixon family. Call 687-1060 or 266-5261. Melissa Mixon Smith, licensed funeral director.